Welcome to day 2 of our tutorial. Today we are looking at the tool options. We are going to look at all the tools and find out what every tool does. Let's begin. First of all, you note that whenever the cursor is hovered over the tools, there are short videos that will be displayed. It will tell you the name of the tool and also give you a brief note about what the tool is used for. Now we are beginning with the Move tool. I have some photos here. We are going to use them to demonstrate what we are going to talk about. So let me import this photo into my project. So when the Move tool is selected, it will give me the chance to move my image from one location to the other. So that is the use of the Move tool. If you observe the icons, you can see that there is a small triangle under the icons. Whenever you see those triangles, it means that there are other similar tools that have been grouped together. So what you will do is to right click on the icon and it will unfold all the tools under them. So when you come to the marquee tool, we have rectangular marquee tool, elliptical, single row and also single column. Let's look at what they are used for. Starting with the rectangular marquee tool. If the layer is selected, then the triangular marquee tool will allow you to make a rectangular selection on your image. So for example, as I drag, it is going to form a rectangle. Now that part is selected. I can hit delete key on my keyboard and it will be deleted. So that is the work of the rectangular marquee tool. It simply makes a rectangular selection on your images. Now I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo what I have done. Now the next one is the elliptical marquee tool. This also allows you to make a round selection. So it does a similar work as the rectangular. So the same way, I can hit delete key on the keyboard and then it will be deleted. Now let's come to the next selection tool. Under this icon, we have lasso tool, polygonal lasso tool, then magnetic lasso tool. So starting from the lasso tool. Now this one allows you to make a selection with just a free hand. So you drag, then you just make your own selection. So once it is selected, you can decide to delete or apply any effect according to what you are doing. Now Ctrl Z. We also have the polygonal lasso tool. This tool allows you to make selections, but only in a linear way, which means that you are going to use lines to make a selection. Then it will be selected. Let's apply some color here so we see what is happening. So it is only for selection. Also, we have the magnetic lasso tool. This tool is going to allow you to drag your mouse over the edges of an image. Then it will automatically detect the edges of the photo. So that's it. Let's apply some color and see the selection. So this is the work of the magnetic lasso tool. Okay, so I'm going to press Ctrl D to deselect. Now the next tool we are going to look at is the quick selection tool. That one too, when you right click, you are going to see quick selection tool and magic wand tool. So we are taking the quick selection tool first. The quick selection tool makes a selection based on the edges of the object. So there are two ways you can go about it. You can come to the option bar. So you can come to select subject. Photoshop will analyze the image and try to find out the edges and then make the selection. That's it. It looks very perfect. I am pressing Ctrl D. On the other hand, you can decide to drag, select it yourself, and it will make that selection. So this one, I am doing it manually. Now you can see that some parts have been selected which are not supposed to. So you come to the options bar and click the brush that we have minus. So that is subtract from selection. Once it is selected, then you can clean them up because it's going to take it out of the selection. The same way, if you have a part that Photoshop did not select, then you can also come to where you have the plus, add to selection, and then come and select, and then select those parts, and it will be selected nicely. Press Q on your keyboard, and then you are going to see that all the selected area will be in red, leaving your subject. Okay, so if the selection is perfect for you, you can press the Q again. Then you can use Ctrl C to make a copy. Then Ctrl plus V to paste. Now let's turn our main image off. And now you can see our selection. So you can see that we have successfully removed the background. So let's select this background and add one of our images. So this is my background. Drag into the project and then resize it to cover the whole background. We have successfully replaced the background of this image. Beautiful. Now let's go on. Now let's come to the crop tool. We have the crop tool, perspective crop tool, slice tool, and the slice select tool. The crop tool will allow you to crop an image to the size that you want. We have some presets here in the option bar. So right now we are in a square mode. Any changes to the height will also affect the width. You can change from this mode to the ones that you want. So let's take the width and the height resolution. So this one, it depends on what you want. You can adjust it or you can crop it the way that you want. Okay, so once the crop is done, you hit OK. View, fade to screen. Then we have our frame tool. Also we have the eyedropper tool. I'll come back to it as I proceed because I'm going to use it. Now let's come to the spot healing brush. We have the spot healing brush, we have the healing brush, we have the patch tool, content aware move tool, and the last one is red eye tool. So let's look at them. The spot healing brush is a great tool for removing blemishes from images. It works with just a single and a simple click of the mouse. So this is how it works. Let's zoom in. And if there is a spot, let me try to locate a spot. Let's take this as a spot or a blemish that we are going to remove. Use the bracket keys on the keyboard to resize. You can also right click and then you can change the size. So for example, if this button here is taken as a blemish, using the spot healing tool, you don't need to do anything, just click on it. Then you can see that it's gone. So if you are editing an image that someone has pimples in the face, some spots in the face, blemishes, you can use a single click to get rid of them with no difficulty. So I am clicking Ctrl Z to undo what I've done. Under the spot healing tool, we have the healing brush. The work is similar. You have to first take a reference point. So you press and hold your Alt key on the keyboard. Then the cursor will change to something like this. Then you click a point. So I am taking the reference from here. I click. Then you come to where the spot is. Then you come and place it right here. So when you click, then it covers it. So this is how the healing brush also works. Then let's come to the patch tool. Okay, when it comes to the patch tool, you are just going to make your own selection. For example, I can make a selection like this. Then you drag it to an area you want to fill it with. And when you release it, then it patches that area with the selected content. So this is how it works. I'm pressing Ctrl Z. Then let's come to the content aware move tool. So let's use this image to make a demonstration of what this tool can do. In the simplest form, Photoshop will try to fill in any moved content with what it perceives to be there. So for example, if the tool is selected, now I want to move away this track and the people. If I select these people and the track, then I move them to somewhere else. So when I click OK, let's see what will happen. Exactly. So Photoshop tries to fill in the gap here with its own intelligence. Alright, so Ctrl Z. Now the red eye tool. The red eye tool is just a quick way to click on portions of an image that have red eye and remove them instantly. So if your eyes are red, or you have image of a subject whose eyes are red, then just select this, click on the eye, then the red color will leave. Now let's come to the brush tool. Now under this icon tool, we have the brush tool, pencil tool, color replacement, mixer brush tool. Note that the brush tool always use the color selected by the eyedropper. That is why I jumped over the eyedropper, because definitely I am going to talk about it when I reach the brush tool. When the brush tool is selected, we can brush or paint any place of the image. So let's pick a color, double click here. Once the color picker is opened, then it will also be activated by itself. Now if you look at the cursor, it has changed to this icon, which means that any place that you selected, that color will be sampled or will be picked. So for example, if I click on this blue shirt, you can see that the color has been selected. So anything that you click on, once the eyedropper tool is activated, then that color is going to be selected for you. Okay, so we are going to choose this color and then click OK. So our brush tool is selected. Let's increase the size and also bring the hardness to 0. Okay, so what we are going to do is to paint. So this is what the brush tool can do. You can press and hold the Alt key. The cursor will change to the eyedropper tool, which you can select any color from your document and then you can work with it. Okay, let's come to the pencil tool. This one also works just like a normal pencil. I'm going to use the color at the foreground. So let's change the color to black. So this is what the pencil tool can be used. If you want to sign any signature, you can use the pencil tool to do so. Then let's come to the clone stamp. So we have the clone stamp tool and the pattern stamp tool. Let's begin with the clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool is used to clone or copy an image. Let's take this image as an example. So with the clone stamp tool, you press and hold the Alt or the Option key on your keyboard. Then you make a selection of any place that you want to clone. I am making this selection. So I'm going to start painting from here. So I'm only cloning the image. Simply, I am making another copy of the image. So this is what the clone stamp can do. The next one is the pattern stamp tool. And you come to the option bar. You can see where the patterns are. So you can select any of the patterns. So if I choose this pattern, then I can brush to reveal those patterns. Now let's come to, so let's use some of the patterns to fill these places. What you have next is the history brush tool. Also under it you can have the add history brush tool. Okay, with this tool you simply paint or erase to reveal the original image. So for example, if I use the brush tool to paint, then I can also use the history tool to paint over it to reveal it. This is how the history tool works. So when you are working and you mistakenly paint at the wrong place, just select the history tool and then brush over it, it will restore you back to the previous point. Now we are at the eraser tool. The eraser tool removes pixel information from your image, so it is just like the normal eraser. What I'm going to do is to use my eraser tool and erase some parts of this photo. Now let's come here with this image. Let's demonstrate the background eraser tool. So we use this tool to remove background of images. Photoshop will identify the background and also your subject and try to remove the background as you clean or you drag the tool around the edges of the image. So it works just like this. So you can see, very nice. So nowadays, if you want to remove the background of your photo, you don't need to go through stress like before. Photoshop has made it simple. Now let's come to the magic eraser tool. This tool just removes a section of the background of an image, and it is based on the area that you click. So for example, if I click this area, then the background will be gone. So this is also another cool way to get rid of a background when we're doing your photo editing. So once it is removed, you can place anything there and it will fit. Okay, now let's come to the gradient tool. When the gradient tool is selected, then you come to look at the options bar. You're going to find this. Click on it. So you click on this handle, then you click on this color and choose any color that you want. Okay. So you just start from any point and drag to draw this line, then release it and see your gradient. Very beautiful. Then we have our blur, our sharpen, and our smudge tools. Let's begin with the blur tool. So the blur tool lets you blur parts of an image. As an example, once it is selected, you can paint over your image, then it will blur it, but not that much. As you can see, the strength is set to 50, and also the mode is saturation, so we are not going to see it that much. Then you also have the sharpen tool. The sharpen tool gives you the ability to sharpen areas of an image by painting on them. So as you paint on them, you can see it clearly. Then you begin to sharpen them. I'm only sharpening the image when I paint over it. Ctrl Z. Alright. Then also we have the smudge tool. The smudge tool works like a brush tool. Just that it smudges pixels and allows you to push them around. Example, if I hold the nose and drag it to the right side, you see what is happening to the left. Okay. Now with the dodge tool, it lets you paint in highlights. So we have the range here, we have the shadows, midtones, and the highlights. Ctrl Z. After that, you also have the bend tool. So as the name implies, burn, something like shadow. So you are going to de-highlight the image. So this is how it works. If you are retouching your photos, you are going to need all these tools. Then finally, the sponge tool. This lets you paint in a gray color. So this is how it will make your image look like when you use this tool. Then we come to the pen tool. This is another selection tool. So you can just join with points to make a selection. Once the points comes together, then you can right click and choose create vector mask, and then we are going to have only the selected area. It is very useful when you're removing backgrounds of images. Alright, so after that we have the type tool. You want to type something, you choose the horizontal type tool. Then you place it at where you want to type. So here I want to start my typing from here. I click, then you start typing. Now you can come to properties. And make some adjustments. Now let's change the color to white. You can also choose the vertical type tool. It will allow you to type vertically instead of the traditional horizontal method. So this is the path selection tool. Let's come to the shapes. Rectangle tool, rounded rectangle tool, ellipse tool, polygon tool, line tool, then custom shape tool. Let's take them one by one and see how we can use them. So the rectangle tool is selected. Then I'm going to draw a shape. Come to layer and then move this shape below the writings, and then it will show. Let's also choose the rounded rectangle tool and draw. You can see that the edges are curved. That is why we call it rounded rectangle tool. And you can curve it more using these options. So watch the part 3 and the part 4 to learn more about the layers and the properties. I have in-depth tutorial about it. Ellipse tool. Have the polygon tool. Now the polygon tool, once you select it, then you come to the option bar. You can see size. So you can put in the size that you want. Whether you want it to be 5 size, 6 size, 10 size, whatever size that you want, you put it there. So I have 5 size here, which is going to give me a pentagon. Then you also have a line. Then finally we have the custom shape. So when I select the custom shape tool, in the option bar or the option panel, you can see the shape. So when you unfold it, you can see you have a lot of shapes here. So let me pick one and then drag to draw here. Now we have the hand tool and also the rotate view tool. So when the hand tool is selected, you see you can drag the whole canvas and everything here. Then the final one we have here, the rotate view tool. So when you select it, it gives you the option to rotate your canvas. It is very beautiful. So you can look at it from different angles. Now finally we have the zoom tool. When the zoom tool is selected and you drag to the right, then you zoom in. When you drag to the left, then you zoom out. So this is how this tool also works. So guys, this will be the end of the part 2. The part 3 deals with the layers, which is one important thing to know in Photoshop. So I'm going to see you again in the 3rd day. When you have any questions, leave them below. I will definitely get back to you. Shalom.